Hello and welcome to the Flourishing Introvert Talks with me, Jo Rawbone. This is the podcast that celebrates the natural gifts of introverts so that we can flourish in all situations. Episode 212, Life Lessons from the Garden. I recently had the most fabulous conversation with my dear friend Shelley over coffee and cake. She's as passionate about no-dig gardening as I am about enabling introverts to flourish. If you've not heard about no-dig, do check it out, as it's brilliant for the environment because it doesn't unnecessarily release carbon into our atmosphere, nor does it disturb the structure of the soil that the worms have worked so hard to create. See, I'm learning, Shelley. It's Shelley who encouraged me to grow pea shoots for salad, and we've just started eating those. And she is one of many who encourages me to look after myself better, because she notices when I look a little frazzled. And she listened with interest and concern to my episode about being in the doldrums. We all need someone in our life like Shelley, and I'm blessed that I have a few. In the torrential rain and gale-like winds today, we gathered in the safety and dry of the greenhouse and chatted happily about a wide range of topics. I was asking when is a good time to plant my sweet peas, given that my pea shoots are doing so well. And the good news is that now is a great time. Our conversation got me thinking about what a garden has to teach us about life. So in this episode, I'm sharing my key aha moments. Aha number 1. Nothing in life is guaranteed. I asked Shelley, is it best to soak my sweet pea seeds before planting? After all, that's what I did with my pea shoots and they did really well. Well, the advice is divided. Some experts say yes, whilst other experts say it's not necessary. Fat lot of help that is. And how often is this the case? We ask for advice, not always easy for an introvert, and the response that comes back is inconclusive or ambiguous. Either way, it's unhelpful. So the moral of aha number 1 is take responsibility. By all means, ask those you consider to be experts for their advice, but at the end of the day, you'll need to make your own decisions. This means that making and owning the decision is ultimately your responsibility, no one else's. For introverts, this might cause a problem if we get caught in overthinking and get into analysis paralysis. Let's keep things in perspective though. Most of the decisions we make are not that serious. So hold your decisions lightly and remember, everything is a lesson, so mistakes can be left on the cutting room floor. Aha number 2. Stuff that seemed to be flourishing can die. There is often no rhyme or reason for this, and it can be frustrating if you thought you'd followed the guidance to the letter. The moral of aha number 2 then is resilience. It's important to remember that there are many things beyond our control which can impact our desired outcomes. But this doesn't mean that we throw our hands in the air and give up. We need to reflect and learn from it. What was in our sphere of control or influence that we missed? And if that's not the case, maybe we need to accept that there was nothing we could have done anyway. This is a hard lesson for many of us, as letting go of potential guilt is difficult, and we're prone to ask, yeah, but what if? Frost and excessive rain are problems for our English country gardens right now, and whilst I can protect tender things by wrapping them in fleece or keeping them in a heated greenhouse, at some point I'll need to move them into a cooler environment to harden them off. What an interesting phrase that is. And I do prefer harden off to harden up. The former sounds like resilience and the latter like aggression. Aha number 3. Things take longer to germinate than we expect. Oh, there's so much truth and learning in this point. It's not helped by the increasing speed of life, our apparent obsession with instant gratification, and the hustle culture we live in. It's fair to say that most, if not all, of the introverts I work with prefer a slower pace, prefer to take their time, prefer calm over chaos, which means the moral of aha number 3 is patience. They say patience is a virtue, and indeed it is. Seeds take time to germinate, cuttings take time to root, and plants require nurturing before they bear fruit. Similarly, in life, many of our endeavours demand patience, whether it's allowing time for a career to blossom, understanding our true strengths, or nurturing personal or professional relationships. And of course, if we're working towards stretching goals or ambitions, success often requires stick-to-itiveness. It also requires us to be willing to stay the course through periods of seemingly snail-paced progress. If you've got snails in your garden, though, please don't put down pellets, as they poison the food chain higher up. Now that's an interesting metaphor for life, don't you think? What I do to benefit my little corner of the world or garden can be toxic to others. So we need to think about the impact of our behaviour. In other words, employ our emotional intelligence. Aha number 4. What worked last time may not work this time. Whether you believe in global warming or not, and I do, nature is constantly changing, and successful gardeners must be adaptable. Things cannot be planned absolutely and rigidly stuck to. That way madness lies. So the moral of aha number 4 then is adaptability and flexibility are required. I've shared this Dwight D. Eisenhower quote before: plans are nothing, planning is everything. The quote is about accepting that whatever the plan, you'll probably have to modify it once it has been actioned. But because you've taken the time to develop a robust plan, you'll know where the easy flex points are and the likely consequences. So you might plan where you're going to plant things. You may have even drawn up an elaborate planting scheme, only to find out that some of your seeds didn't germinate or some of your plants didn't arrive if you're buying them in. This happened to me last year. So just like in life, we adapt. My plan to launch a new show got postponed. So be it. Life happens. There's no point making a big song and dance about it. I'll wait for the new show to do the song and dance. Aha number 5. In the garden, every organism plays a vital role in the ecosystem. Bees and other flying insects pollinate flowers. Earthworms enrich the soil. Ladybirds keep aphids like greenfly and blackfly under control. And hedgehogs keep the slug and snail population in check, as long as you've not poisoned them with the slug pellets as mentioned before. This interconnectedness reminds me of our symbiotic relationships and dependence on each other. So the moral of aha number 5 is interdependence. Collaboration and cooperation are so important in achieving our desired outcome, even for we introverts. I couldn't do what I'm doing and make the impact I am without my brilliant team wrangling so much and often behind the scenes, or without the foresighted organisations willing to address the extroversion bias to positively impact inclusivity and belonging, or without my brave clients who come to me so that they can step into their power and authority. Just as a diverse garden thrives, so too do individuals, organisations and societies that value difference and embrace inclusivity. In conclusion, the garden is not just a place of beauty and tranquility. It's a teacher imparting valuable lessons about life and our place in the world. So, Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow? Well, it flourishes when we take responsibility, when we are patient and develop resilience, when we're prepared to adapt and flex whilst acknowledging that as humans we're not meant to be isolated. Sure, we need our downtime to recharge, but it's not healthy or desirable to disconnect completely for long periods of time. These are some of the themes that we explore in the Frustrated to Flourishing program. You see, we're all interconnected and interdependent in some way. So let's make our symbiotic relationships healthy ones. And the next time you find yourself in a garden, take a moment to pause, breathe in the fragrant air, and allow yourself to be inspired by the wisdom that surrounds you. I'd like to finish with Alexander Den Heyer's words of wisdom. When a flower doesn't bloom, you fix the environment in which it grows, not the flower. If you enjoyed this episode as much as I did, then please subscribe, rate us and leave a comment, because we know that helps other people find the podcast. And if other people find us, other introverts can flourish.